Could anyone that has elite level or way above average genetics look like that if they put in the hard work while being 100% natural? Yes. The thing is, did he? And the answer is no. Coach Greg, in today's video, I'm going to show you something shocking, and I don't think that you're going to believe me. I'm going to tell you that Chris Williamson is in fact a fake natty. And I know you're thinking, but his physique isn't outstanding. He's not as jacked as those other guys that you said were natural, and he's been training his entire life. Don't you think that if you trained for 15 years that you could look like that while being 100% natural? Could I do it? Yup. Could Chris Bumstead do it? Absolutely. Could anyone that has elite level or way above average genetics look like that if they put in the hard work while being 100% natural? Yes. The thing is, did he? And the answer is no. I know that you're saying, oh, well, you've lost all credibility because one guy who's way more jacked than he is, you say that he's natural, and guys that you say have way less muscle, you say they're not natural. The ultimate determining factor if somebody is natural or enhanced isn't the end result physique. It's not how good it is. It's whether or not they achieved it without using performance-enhancing drugs. And if they did, they're not natural. And so Chris Williamson, he has a great podcast. He's definitely obsessed with being the best version of himself in everything. He puts in the work. I don't know how many hours a week this guy works, but it's got to be through the roof. He wants to be perfection. I watched in his interview with Mike Israetel. He went on about how he was meditating for an hour a day. He's at arguably close to single-digit body fat year-round, and he has an amazing physique. The people in the comment section, they're saying things like, you look like Sebum, and it isn't just the mustache, it's the fact that he's very tall, he's got the blonder hair, he's got a smaller waist, and he does have a lot of muscle. Now, you may be brainwashed because what we're being shown is the top 1% of the top 1%. The best of the best. When he's collaborating with a guy like Mike Thurston or Mike Israetel, Chris Bumstead, the list goes on and on. You're thinking, well, he doesn't quite have as much muscle as them, and so he must be natural. It doesn't work like that.
I ruptured an Achilles.
Okay.
Which one did I rupture?
This calf might be a little smaller.
Right side.
Right side a little smaller.
God damn it, you got it right.
Look at the calves, the detail, the definition, the size. That is a lot of muscle. He is very lean.
It looks amazing. We just know our shit.
It looks amazing. And so they're analyzing his physique. He's just standing there. He's not flexing. He's not sucking in his stomach. He's not flaring his lats. He's not sticking his chest out. He's not posing to make himself look like he's on steroids. He's just literally standing there. And so what do we see? Massive forearms. I mean, his forearms almost look at the size of his biceps. Do you not see just how thick his forearms actually are? And look at the vascularity into the forearms and going up to the biceps, and not just the main bicep vein, but coming from the side to the side. That means he's very lean, certainly approaching 10% body fat.
A typical week for me is chest and back Monday, shoulders and arms Wednesday, legs Friday, shoulders and arms Saturday.
And so he's not even training each body part twice a week. Mike Israetel goes through his body, basically says everything is amazing except for your biceps and your shoulders. But remember, bro is very tall, over 6 feet tall, and so it takes more time to put on more muscle. When I look at his physique is better than 99% of men. He's already a top 1%er. Could he use more size in the biceps? Of course. You know who else could? Chris Bumstead, and last I checked, Chris is not natural. Let me make it clear, because you've probably already written in the comments section or about to. This physique is attainable natural for some people. For some people, perhaps 5% of the population, if they work very hard, they can look like this. And that includes having this much muscle at this height and being this lean. If you really care about your physique and you're obsessed and you put in the work, you can do it. Now, Chris, I've seen him go for runs. He does his cardio. He does his weights. He must, in fact, eat a healthy diet. He cares about not only his physique, his persona, he cares about everything. He's a deep thinker. He wants to present to the world his best image. The fact that he's on camera right now with his shirt off, that tells me bro has a lot of confidence. A lot of guys with this kind of physique, they would shy away from the camera. If he didn't like how he looked, do you think he would take his shirt off? Many men, they go to the gym, they have the pump cover, they actually look amazing, but they don't have the confidence. They don't want you to see what's underneath. And so for the most part, he has a business persona. He's interviewing legends and presenting himself as a very intelligent man. Now, this kind of person, this kind of man who wants to be the best at everything, who wants to excel, do you think he's going to half-ass his physique? Of course not. Look at him. Does it look like he half-assed his physique? What makes you think that he wouldn't use performance-enhancing drugs if he thought it could make him better? Does he have some kind of moral ground to stand on where he says, you know what? If I use PEDs, I'm a cheater, I'm a bad person? Or do you think he's thinking, whatever can make me better, I'm going to use it? He's not a competitive bodybuilder entering natural bodybuilding competitions. And last I checked, he doesn't compete in natural powerlifting. And so if you're not competing and all you care is about your aesthetics, and I do believe he does in fact care about his aesthetics, why would he be asking Mike what he needs to work on to improve his aesthetics? And so it's not just about being fit, it's also about looking the part. And trust me, you are like your 5 closest friends. And so if many of your closest friends are on performance-enhancing drugs or have used performance-enhancing drugs in the past, or if you meet up with so many fitness influencers, the likes of Chris Bumstead, Dr. Mike Isertel, the list goes on, would you not feel somewhat normalized to use steroids or performance-enhancing drugs of any sort? And so I don't think that Chris Williamson has the mindset of, if I use steroids, SARMs, whatever, that I'm a cheater. I think he has the mindset of, if it can help me to look and feel better, then I'm going to do it. I don't think he hates on the fitness world people who use steroids. I certainly don't think he thinks that Chris Bumstead is a cheater. I don't think he thinks Mike Isertel is a bad person. And I believe that he likes his friends. For example, Mike Thurston. Why wouldn't he use it? But Coach Greg, this is pure speculation. You're just looking at his physique, and because it's above average, you're saying he's probably not natty. Now, that technically is what most people do when they do natty or nots. They look at the physique and they say, if it's above average, he's probably not natural. They see some juicy pumps, some delts from traps, and not natural. Now, based on his physique alone, if you had to make me choose and said, natty or not, I'm guessing not natty, because the vast majority of people who look like this, I don't care at what age they are, perhaps they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, I don't care. If they look like this, they're probably not natural. Does that mean that he's not natural? Of course not. And so if it hadn't been for this specific evidence where he's talking about it, I would have said, well, maybe he is natural. I wouldn't have bothered to make the video. But let's get the information from Chris Williamson himself.
So you might remember that about 6 months ago, I started working with Marek Health, but my testosterone went from 495 to 1006.
And so already, are you now more skeptical as to whether Chris Williamson is 100% natural? He went to Marek Health. They're going to get some blood work. And of course, they're going to test his testosterone levels. And lo and behold, they came back at 496, which is totally natural, totally normal, nothing wrong with that. And so I believe at that point that Chris is natural. I have no reason to doubt him, aside from his amazing physique. If he went to Marek Health, he would have gone there to improve his health and fitness. Why wouldn't he? There's nothing wrong with that.
And I just had my 6-month check-in after a ton of lifestyle interventions and diet changes, training changes, more prioritization of sleep, supplements that they'd put me on as well.
Now, if you come back at 496, this is what my suggestion is. You can do everything that was listed first. You can sleep more. You can reduce your stress. You can have a better lifestyle. You can eat healthy. You can take supplements, natural supplements. For example, G-Test Platinum, natural supplement that can improve your testosterone levels by up to 200 nanograms per deciliter. Remember, totally natural. You don't have to spend $1,000 on blood work or anything fancy and buy very expensive pills and so on. This is a natural way to boost your testosterone. And of course, if you're trying to boost your cardio, if you've got GO2 Max already, and if you're trying to build muscle, of course you've tried Turk Builder Max. But one thing that is suspicious is notice his testosterone went from 495 to over 1,000. Now, there's one thing that I know that is prescribed from Merrick Health and other HRT clinics and so on that can increase your testosterone twofold. Remember, it doubled. And that drug is, are you ready for it? Are you waiting? You already know it. It's called enclomiphene. And so enclomiphene is a performance-enhancing drug. And why do you think it's a performance-enhancing drug? Well, it doubles up your testosterone and improves your performance. And so if you take it, you would absolutely fail a drug test. And so if Chris Williamson was given enclomiphene and he swallowed it, he would fail a drug test, and so he would not be natural. Some of you are going to say, well, that doesn't count. He's still 100% natural. Well, that would make you a moron. It's not your fault you weren't born as smart as you should have been. Obviously, if it improves your testosterone to this extent, it can improve your performance, and so you're not natural. Just because it isn't an injection, just because there isn't a needle involved, doesn't mean that you're natural. And even if there is a needle involved, doesn't mean that you're not natural. For example, vitamin B12. If you do a vitamin B12 shot, it doesn't mean you're not a fake natty. It doesn't work like that.
And probably explains why I've been so well-natured and enthusiastic and energetic over the last few months. But genuinely, I feel significantly better. Training is better. Energy levels are better.
And so he feels significantly better. Everything significant, not just a little bit, not a minor amount, much better. Does that sound like somebody who's natural? When they notice significant changes. And remember, if you want to notice significant changes in your physique, in your strength, energy levels, and so on, Turk Builder Max, code Greg, 15% off. And if you don't experience those significant changes, don't forget money back guarantee and a $20 gift card. I want everyone to be able to try it. Most people experience this. Doesn't mean everyone is. Some people drink coffee and they get tired. Not every single person on the planet is going to experience those changes. For me, 100%. It's undeniable. For most people who are rebuying it, of course, they notice the difference and they keep getting it each and every time. But Chris Williamson, I do believe it's from taking enclomiphene, as he said it himself. Now, remember, he didn't outright say exactly what he's taken, but I'm reading between the lines.
After a ton of lifestyle interventions and diet changes, training changes, more prioritization of sleep, supplements that they'd put me on as well. No injectably stuff yet. I'm not on TRT.
This video was taken over a year ago. And so when somebody says not yet, does that sound like they're against it? He would have said, guys, I'm not taking testosterone. I won't do that. I don't believe in that. I think it's cheating, whatever. He would have said that, but he said not yet. And so by saying not yet, I do believe that in the future, he was planning to do so. Now, as soon as he's on TRT, do you think he's going to make a video and say, hey guys, I'm on TRT? I don't believe he's going to say so. And the reason for that is because he did not say right here that he's on enclomiphene. If he had said, I just want to be 100% transparent, I'm on enclomiphene right now, and they gave it to me from Merrick Health, and my testosterone doubles, my libido's through the roof, and blah, blah, blah. And I may, in fact, use testosterone in the future, I would believe him. I would say probably if he's on testosterone, he's going to tell us. But because he didn't outright say it, I believe that if he's on testosterone, and perhaps he's on it right now, that he's not going to tell people. I believe he has thought this through. It's taking him some time, and enclomiphene is a gateway drug to HRT. Enclomiphene is basically, I want to be on TRT, but I don't really dare inject right yet. I want to feel like that. I want more muscle. I want to be leaner, but I'm not quite ready to make that final step. Once you're on testosterone, I do believe it's something you're going to need to do for the rest of your life. It's hard to actually stop. And so, is he on testosterone right now? I absolutely wouldn't doubt it. Looking at his physique, it looks to me like a guy who's probably on a lower level dose of HRT. Perhaps not even 200 milligrams. 200 milligrams, I do believe that that would be a lot. Remember, I'm on 140. Would it make sense that a guy like this who's traveling the world, who's trying to improve his physique, he's doing cardio, he's lifting weights, and he's trying to be very lean. And remember, when you're really lean, it does in fact lower your levels of testosterone. And so if he's trying to maintain an ultra-ripped physique, to look the part, to be the best at everything, why wouldn't he be on testosterone? Think of it. He's got over 3 million followers. He probably wants 10. He probably wants to make tens of millions of dollars. He probably wants to be one of, if not the best interviewer, most famous person on the planet. I believe he has all those goals. When you're like Chris Williamson, a perfectionist, you want to be the best at everything, why would you not take the drug that's going to help make it easier to do that? I personally would bet that he's on testosterone, on HRT. I mean, I don't know for certain, but I would bet that he's at a minimum on enclomiphene, and most certainly I would believe that he's on several different peptides. Remember, you don't need testosterone, HRT, to improve your physique. There are a variety of peptides out there that can help. There are people out there that they want to be the best versions of themselves, and if they're not opposed to using performance-enhancing drugs, then why wouldn't they use them? Unless you think that somehow it's bad, of which performance-enhancing drugs are not all bad. I mean, if you're a teenager and you're on tren and you're put into the hospital, obviously it's bad. But if you're an adult and you take things at doctor-prescribed doses, they tell you that it's safe, that's going to make you look and feel better, then why wouldn't you? And so my personal belief, Chris Williams, no way is he natural. Now, does that mean he's on test and tren and D-bol? Of course not. I would say at most he would be on lower dose HRT, 200 milligrams a week max, which is, of course, a very high dose. But aside from that, I don't believe he's on any steroids. I don't believe he's on SARMs. Is it possible that he's on growth hormone? If so, he's probably only using 1 or 2 IUs a day. And it's very likely that he would have opted for something like peptides. And so for a guy like Chris, I do believe a peptide like tesamorelin would be very likely something that he would be on. And so in conclusion, remember, just because you don't look like a monster, like a beast, like you have so much muscle, it doesn't mean that you're natural. The guys who look like that always have the best genetics for putting on muscle. And some guys, although rare, who look like there's no way they could be natural, they actually are. And in today's society where almost everyone has a cell phone, these people have almost all been outed. And so we are presented with the best of the best. And so that is why it's very common for you to swipe through your social media feed and see all these amazing physiques. Just because you see several people with amazing physiques, much better than yours, doesn't mean that it's common. You might be able to list 10 natural guys who have way more impressive physiques than people who are on steroids. These people, most likely, rarely would you ever meet someone natural that has these impressive physiques. Most men who look like this are not natural. And so try not comparing yourself to other people. If you're interested in coaching to get your best physique possible, of course, click the link in the description. Apply right now, dramatically reduced prices. And of course, for the cookbook, you can get this on the website, the training books, coaching plans by me and my team, the pre-workouts. And also this is in everyone raving about GLP Max for reducing your appetite, your cravings up to 28%. That is a big deal. Go from 8 on 10 hungry to 6. Interested? Code Greg 15% off. Click the link in the description. Subscribe. Click the bell button. Comment to boost the algorithm. Like the video if you liked it. Watch those 2 bloops to the side right now. And until next time, I am out.